He has a doctorate of clinical psychology, founder of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Let's welcome Dr. Umar.
Dr. Umar Johnson.
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 I keep telling you, consciousness over coochie, politics over punani. Black women are beautiful. Let me refocus. Why do you need white man paperwork? I gotta check the coons. I gotta do a coon analysis and a coon screening. All A's and B's. You know what A stand for? African. You know what B stand for? Black. We don't get C's. That stands for Caucasian. And D stand for devils. We are the inheritors. We have an inheritance, brothers and sisters. We are the children of the Ma'afa. I am the descendants of those who came on slave ships. I am the offspring of Douglass and Tubman and Ida B. Wells and Fannie Lou and Mega and Fred Hampton. I inherited their struggle, brothers and sisters. And I have a responsibility, and so do you, to keep the torch lit. Keep the fire of African liberation burning. We have a responsibility to finish the work of Dr. King, finish the work of El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, finish the work of Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba and Sekou Touré and Dedan Kamathi and Menelik II and His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie and Winnie and Nelson and Chris Hani and Steve Biko and Robert Sobukwe and Peter Tosh and all the great African activists. I am honored to be an African. The word African is older than the word indigenous. Africa was not named by its conqueror because no man ever conquered the whole continent. Alexander the Great conquered Kemet. Caesar conquered Kemet. The word Africa was around and is older before Leo Africanos. It is from the ancient Kemetic language, Af-Ra-Ka. Af-Ra-Ka. Ra is God, Ka is spirit, Af is from. When we say we are African, an original Kemetic word, we are saying we are from the Spirit of God. African means I am from the Spirit of God. The greatness of Garvey, the greatness of the most honorable Marcus Garvey is Garvey organized us not with self-hate, not with fake religion, not with false scruples, but he organized us with African consciousness. Garvey organized us with African consciousness.
Right here, I'm right here. Hi, Dr. Umar. My name is Mavis Rogers. I have a question because I'm a first generation African immigrant in America.
What country?
Ghana. Yes. I was born in Accra, and I'm here. I was brought here about 8 years old, and I've been to school here. My question is, how does someone like me, who might have property and so forth and family in Ghana, connect my life here and kind of bridge that gap and involve my Africanness with my Americanness while also helping my community?
We have to build a village in Ghana for Africans in the Western Hemisphere. Not just America, Canada, Brazil, Caribbean, to come back home and experience Africa so they know that this is home.
How do I start that? For me, specifically me, I have bought land, I've started building a building. I'm not sure exactly yet what I want it to be, but I feel so isolated. I feel like I don't have help. I feel like I don't.
Well, I tell you this, I'll give you an idea right now. Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, we should be opening our doors next September the 3rd of 2024. We would love to do an exchange program with you in Ghana, where we send our kids over there, possibly learn some agriculture, learn some African culture itself, and some other things, so you can partner with us.
Yes.
We would love to.
I'll go. Garvey Day, Dr. Umar.
Garvey Day, brother.
My first question is, on social media, I saw that there was a property broken at the FTG Academy in Wilmington, Delaware.
Yeah, somebody broke the window last week. I think I know who it was, one of my coons.
How do you plan on like security for the students and the staff members upcoming 2024?
I can't answer that publicly or to give the plan away, but we do have a security plan.
Okay, awesome. And then my second question regards like organization. Clearly we're novices and amateurs at that as a people. What qualities would you suggest that startup organizations would do to help our people?
The qualities for the individual?
Yes.
Okay, 5 things that you want to see in anybody who claims to be serious about the revolution. Number 1 is humility. Number 1 is humility. I don't care how many degrees you got. I don't care how much knowledge you got. I don't care how much experience you got. If you are not humble enough to hear other people out, one of our big issues is our ego. The ego of the Negro has been one of the greatest hindrances to the progress of our people. Humility. The first thing I look for is humility, even from me. Because if I can't sit down with the people and be amongst the people, I'm useless to the people, right? That European consciousness that the white man gave us has convinced us that we have all the answers and nobody else don't. We gotta have humility. After the humility, courage. Are you willing to speak truth to power? Can you stand toe-to-toe with the white power structure? Creativity. Do you have fresh ideas we can use? Consistency. Do you live what you claim you stand for, or are you changing your political philosophy to suit your financial agenda? Right?
Right.
Consciousness. How alert, educated, and aware you are of who we are and where we are. You can't have a dumb soldier, right? So you need creativity, consistency, consciousness, commitment. Are you willing to die for this? Are you willing to go to jail for this? Are you willing to go homeless for this? Because one thing we got to understand, everybody in this auditorium has a different level of sacrifice they're willing to make. She might be willing to lose her job, but she might not be willing to go to jail. You might be willing to go to jail, but you might not be willing to die. He might be willing to die. Does that mean y'all can't be a part of the struggle? No, y'all can all be a part of the struggle, but be honest about what you're willing to sacrifice. If you're only willing to go to jail, say that. Then I know where to put you. You willing to die? I know where to put you. You willing to lose your job, but you don't want to go to jail? I know where to put you. The problem with the black liberation struggle is everybody show up saying they're willing to die, when the truth of the matter is they are not. Be honest about what you're willing to sacrifice. Get in where you fit in so we know where to use you. We can use everybody, but be honest about what you're willing to sacrifice.
Thank you.
How you doing, Dr. Umar? My sister, I got a question. My sister, she lived down in Texas. She got 2 boys. She wanted to attend your academy, but she's not able to relocate. She want to know how can she go about doing that. And also, if you think obtaining reparations is realistic, and if so, should we temporarily redirect our focus as blacks on the national goal instead of our matters such as global pan-African unity?
Okay. Let me answer the first question. He said, what if you have a son, you can't move to Wilmington, Delaware, how does he benefit from FDMG? 2 ways. Number 1, we will have a virtual academy for black boys. So even if you can't physically be there, you can tap in through the internet and be in the class. You can see your classmates can see you, but that will not be the first year of operation. That's about year 2 or 3, right? So that's number 1. Second answer, even if your son is not a student at FDMG, he can still participate in our manhood training programs. When we go to Africa, he can come. When we go hiking, he can come. When we go fishing, when we go hunting, when we do our sleepovers, when we go paintballing, gun training, he can come. You follow me? So even if he can't be a Monday through Friday warrior, he can be a weekend warrior with FDMG. What y'all need to do, well, y'all got good news because y'all only an hour from the Detroit airport. And Detroit to Philly is a 1-hour flight. And the front door of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy is a 20-minute ride from the Philadelphia airport. So you go an hour from Lansing to Detroit, you fly an hour from Detroit to Philly, and then you drive 20 minutes from the Philly airport to the FDMG front door. So y'all only 2 hours and 20 minutes away. Y'all can be at the school a whole lot. And I look to see y'all there as well, because outside of the school, we're gonna have programs for the whole community. Black Women's Conference, Black Men's Conference, Black Youth Conference, Ex-Offenders Conference, Black Wall Street Conference, Black Investor Conference, Black Farmers Conference, Black Media Conference. It's gonna be a conference for everything. So even though we got the school for the children, but we got the community center for the whole race. So all y'all gonna be spending a lot of time in FDMG Delaware. We're gonna be having our grand opening for the community this summer. Please stay on my social media. You have my number, you can text me. It's going to be in August or September, a grand opening for the community for y'all to come down, eat some food, politics, see the school, socialize and network, and I want to see all of y'all there. But you have to be a donor in order to come to the grand opening. If you haven't donated in 9 years, you better hit your Cash App or your PayPal, or you're not coming to hell. You understand? Y'all done took your Chinese and Arabs and East Indians, and y'all done financed everybody else. You better help us finance the school for black men. Black power. Second question. He said, is it better to focus on a domestic agenda versus Pan-Africanism? You do both. I don't know why black people got this idea, I gotta be a Pan-Africanist, right? Or I gotta be a domestic activist. You do both. You do both. You have to make Africa free or you will never be. But at the same time, we gotta address the problems in Michigan. We gotta address the problems in Lansing and Kalamazoo. It's not either or. You do both. Fight to free Africa and fight to empower black Lansing. You do both at the same time. No struggle is one dimension. As Africa goes, so goes all African people. Last question.
Right here, Doctor.
Over here, doctor. Right over here, doctor. Right here.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Umar, I am the brother that owns the door and lock company and the glass company.
Ah, yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
My question to you is, brother.
I got a broke window, brother.
But I got you covered. I got you covered. I came halfway across the world this morning to come here.
Appreciate you.
My question is, I was born and raised in Detroit. How do I convince my other black business owners like myself that this movement is worth our everything? Because most of my partners that own businesses like myself and all the different industries are so indoctrinated with the white banking industry and also with the culture here with you have to get into one of these white programs to get any money donated to your business so you can do community work. How can we get them completely from that and get into an economic power of our own banking, our own system? I need to convince other people my age that own businesses like me that this, not only this your school, but other programs like this, because it's going to grow, and we can do this on our own. I have to be able to have that conversation with them honestly and say this will work without them saying, well, if I go and I promote what we're promoting, the white bank is going to cut me off totally because it doesn't look good in the meetings. We have to spend a lot of money to go to their meetings. We have to fund their breakfasts. We have to fund their dinners. We have to go to the athletic club. We have to go to this. All their political agendas. If you can't get a ticket, you have to buy a $500 ticket in, or they won't even talk to you about your application to even think about going through all the paperwork to give you any money. I'm tired of going through the hoops and the loops to get money that we can't even use for our own communities. What is the plan for that? I need to be able to have some ammunition to talk to my brothers outside of that industry, one-on-one, and say, hey, this will work.
Great question. One of the most powerful things that Booker T. Washington did was when he built the National Negro Business League, and he made the black businesses work together and work with one another. Biggest problem we have as black businesses, we don't support each other. If you got 10 people in here in the business, they should have a united black business club. If I spend $1 with him at his barbershop, I'll automatically get a discount at her tire shop. I spend $1 at that tire shop, I'll automatically get a discount at her bakery. I spend $1 at that bakery, I'll automatically get a discount at your supermarket. Black businesses are not supporting each other. They should be handing off customers the way we hand off a baton and attract meat. The issue with black business is you got black capitalists and you got black nationalists. We can't do nothing with the capitalists. All they care about is money. They don't give a damn about the future of black people. We got to get those black activists and those black nationalists, and just like Booker T. Washington, create that National Negro Business League. If that's something you're going to be working on, let me know. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. There's no way in hell the black hair salons and barbershops should have let the Koreans take over the hair care business. The only way the Koreans took over the hair care business in the black community is we was too busy fighting with each other, competing with each other. This beauty salon trying to outdo this beauty salon, this barbershop trying to outdo this barbershop, and the Koreans ran away with the whole damn industry. We have to unite or we will be destroyed. I don't know if you heard about this yet, Baba. I don't know if the rest of y'all heard about this either. There is a national movement to destroy black restaurants. What a lot of these landlords are doing, let's say you had a black soul food joint in Lansing. You were paying $3,000 for rent for the past 10 years. All of a sudden, your Arab landlord said, I can't afford to let you pay $3,000. You now gotta pay $7,000. And so a black soul food restaurant that's been in business for 30, 40 years gotta pack up and close shop. This is happening all over America. I think it's a concerted effort to destroy black restaurants so we completely dependent on non-Africans for our food.
Harold's in Chicago.
Another one. And then there's another one in New York. They are systematically shutting them down by raising the rent. But here's the issue. How you been in business 30 years? So that's where we got to come in at. 30 years? You should have had 3 of them joints that you own. So we got to do better too. We got to get into real estate. That's another thing. For those of y'all who got children in high school, do not send them to college unless you can answer 3 questions. Number 1, did you raise them with the discipline to finish college? Number 2, are they going to major in something relevant? Number 3, are you sure that whatever your child is majoring in, they're going to be able to make a contribution to the black community because of it? Too many black kids are going into long-term debt to America's banks in the name of college. Too many student loans. Most of us own student loans, and half of us don't even work in the area where we got our education in. If I was you, I would send my son and my daughter to one of these technical colleges where they will go for 2 years. 2 years, licensed plumber. 2 years, licensed electrician. 2 years, licensed roofer. 2 years, licensed welder. 2 years, licensed auto mechanic. 2 years, and they could be making more money than a surgeon. You know what we had to pay our electricians? Over $150,000 for those electrical repairs. That's more money in 1 week than a lawyer might make in a whole year. We need the skills that pay the bills. Make sure your son and daughters got skills that pay the bills. Don't send them to college unless they're going to major in something relevant. But if it was up to me, they go to trade school first for 2 years, get a license. If you want to go to college after you get a license, you can pay your own way through college now. Put them in trade school.
Hello. This is my question. When we come to programs like this, often we talk about community building or we talk about educating people. The Panthers talked about their programs is based on survival pending revolution, right? All of their programs, schools, medical, whatever they was doing, was meant that we immediately had to survive, but the ultimate goal was revolution. When I come to programs like this, it don't seem like I hear people telling people that ultimately we're gonna have to fight, and that the programs and things that we build are designed to put us in a position to fight. That these schools aren't gonna solve our problems either, or trying to come together, because that bank is still controlled by the Federal Reserve and all the banking regulations. That's my question. At what point do we tell people that the programs that we are creating are meant to survive immediately, but ultimately they're to put us in a position where we can fight? Because no people on earth have ever got anywhere from just trying to build within the system. The goal has always been to fight. Reparations, what was taken from us was power, not money. Reparations ultimately to me mean land, because from the land we'll get our power, resources. So that's my thing about reparations. What we lost was power, was not money. So reparations gotta be power in some aspect.
Great question. 2 answers on that. I agree with you. But here's where I want to exercise caution. Military struggle, armed combat is the last stage of revolution. It's not the first. I'm not interested in dying with nobody who couldn't help me build anything. The problem with us sometimes, we're too quick to want to fight, but we never in a rush to create anything for ourselves. Are y'all following where I'm coming from? We always want to talk, we always want to debate, we want to fight. When do we build? Look at all the riots we had. Look at all the police rebellions we had. We'll show up to burn it down, but we won't show up the next day to build it back up. I'm only interested in fighting with people who are also willing to build. Because what I know, there's a lot of African people who are so consumed with anger and so consumed with hurt that all they want to do is inflict damage on somebody. And after they get done fighting the white man, they are still filled with anger, so now they want to turn around and fight their own brother and sister as well. It happened in Africa. So we can't be in a rush to fight. Let's be in a rush to build, so when we do fight, we have something to defend. I do agree with you. There will come a time where we have to defend ourselves, but you gotta build in the meantime.
You don't know who you can trust in here. I don't know who I can trust in here. I bet you there's at least 3 FBI agents in here right now. Right? I want to bet there's about 3 snitches for the black bourgeoisie who sent them to see if I was going to talk about them. You understand me? You got about 3 undercover police in here. You understand? I'm just being honest. And then the black church sent a bunch of coons too to report back. So until I get to know you, how do I line up and put my life in your hands and you put your life in my hands? We got to be in the trenches first, and we need to be in the trenches building something. You know what hurts me? I travel the whole country. I ain't been to a black community in America yet that has its own Black Wall Street. No city in this country do black people have their own school, their own bank, their own hospital, their own supermarket. 50 million Africans in America, 50 states, $2 trillion. We're the richest blacks in the world. We're the 10th richest nation on earth. And we ain't got a single community where we control the major institutions. That is a psychological holocaust. And I support reparations. But guess what? Before we can talk external reparations, we need to have internal reparations. What am I talking about? Most of the problems that have to be solved for black people, money cannot fix them. Money cannot make the black man respect the black woman. Money cannot make the black woman respect the black man. Money cannot make the black community stop worshiping the white Jesus. Money is not going to teach us to exercise patience with one another. If you give us reparations before we have built an infrastructure to track that wealth inside of it, all black reparations will go right back to white people and non-Africans. If they gave everybody in here $1 million, these non-African businesses in Lansing could be $1 billion richer tomorrow. Which is why I do not support a cash payout for reparations as a priority. If you were to put it at the bottom of the list, I'll tolerate it. But to make that the priority clearly tells me we are not thinking deep enough and we are not thinking visionarily enough. We should be getting all the land back that was stolen from our ancestors from 1865 to 1965. We should be getting control of all black music, all black inventions. You understand? We should be getting control of certain major ports. 60% of all black people in America are concentrated in 10 states, and your state happens to be one of them, Michigan. All of them are on the water. You guys are on the Great Lake. We should be controlling the major port. We get paid anytime something comes in, anytime something goes out. We have to get into global distribution. Black people in America spend too much money for us not to be involved in global distribution. The Honorable Marcus Garvey is the only leader we ever had who tried to get us into global distribution with the Black Star Line Steamship Corporation, but he was sabotaged by W.E.B. Du Bois and other jealous black leaders. We have to get into distribution. We spend too much money not to be making them back. The mayor of Jackson. Yes, sir. He's the first to bring me to Jackson. His son is the mayor now. I'll be in Jackson next week for the water crisis rally. I think they murdered Chokwe. They murdered him. He went to the hospital. He was fine. They murdered Chokwe. They murdered him. I have no doubt about that. If you are an activist in Lansing, this go for all y'all who do community work. If you got to go to the hospital, take all your ID off you. Do not go into the hospital with any ID and give them a fake name. Because the FBI database is tied into every hospital's database. When a revolutionary checks into the hospital, the FBI automatically gets an alert. And they can tell that doctor to make sure you don't make it out the hospital. Remember, Tupac showed up alive at the hospital. Chokwe showed up alive. I can name you millions of black people showed up alive at the hospital, didn't make it out the hospital. If I got to go to the emergency room, my name is not UMAR Johnson, it's John Brown.
Came to change, I'm amazed, take the high road. Made the play bet on my game, I'm a splash code. Can't complain, I make it rain, heavy cash load. See my veins, I get the gains, you a slimy troll.